2025's The War of the Worlds is the most disappointing thing since my son. Yep, finally got around to watching this thing. Gotta say, just how disappointing is it that the only adaptation released by a major distributor recently is this. Like, we've had nothing but the equivalent of Asylum slop being pumped out ever since the copyright for the original book expired. And this is the only thing we've gotten from major studios. Yay. Lucky Paul really curled on that one, eh? And not just that, but now we have another in the long line of film adaptations that legit just refuse to adapt the original book faithfully. And this is the one that someone fails the most at it. Like, at least the other adaptations try to homage or adapt certain parts of the book faithfully. This one does none of that. Like, not even a basement scene that every adaptation has at least used. Except this one, because Ice Cube was too expensive and the rest of the film is being held together by prayers and pennies. You only get one office locale for most of the film. And some random houses. As a treat. But now, let's dive into just how much this bad boy bastardizes the sci-fi classic. Shall we? What do you know? The adaptation that takes a book about Victoria-era England being invaded by Martians who act as a metaphor for colonialism and the horrors of humans being reduced to mere cattle as a way for H.G. Wells to basically say, don't feel too good when it happens to you, does it? To England. And making it about a Department of Home Security agent and his family of a pregnant daughter who made a virus that kills cells, hacker's son who tries to release classified files, and the baby daddy of his daughter's baby who's an Amazon delivery driver. No, I'm not kidding, and it's a genuine use of a Chekhov's gun. No, I'm not kidding. Fighting a race of biomechanical beings who are here to eat our data. And also, conspiracy theories are real. So yeah, as an adaptation, it falls so flat it gives paper a run for its money, mostly with the aliens themselves. Yeah, they got tripods, the most generic and most nothing designs though. They feel like copyright-free models you could get on something like CGI Trader for cheap change. And boy, are they animated like that too. Like, how do we get stuff on this level when anyone with a smidge of passion could create better? But that's not even counting how they butchered them beyond the design. So no longer are these Martians coming from a dying world who seek to conquer Earth and terraform Mars into a second red planet, and instead made them into biomechanical organisms who eat our data. Yeah. More specifically, these microorganisms that are the ones chowing down on our ones and zeros here. However, there are some surprisingly book-accurate elements that, whether intentional or not, with one being the kind of inclusion of the red weed. You see, in this film, the tripods release this weird flesh-like tendril into data centers that kind of grow and branch into the servers and release these microorganisms that begin to eat up the data. It's red and grows like a type of cyberweed, but it's still kind of like it. A growing mass that consumes all around it, but dumber. Because data-eating aliens is stupid. I don't know what you want me to say. Then there's the, I can't believe I'm saying this, they actually adapted the fucking flying machine. Like no one else even touched adapting that outside of the 70s musical. Sure, it's not an entirely separate machine like in the book, instead the head of the tripod separating from the body to fly, but it's there, I guess. And surprisingly, they made the human/alien warfare actually a little more accurate to the book by actually having them be vulnerable to being taken down. Which is pretty neat to see after so many adaptations just do the whole invincible shield after the 50s film added it, and it just kind of stuck after that. But it's not here, and it allows for a real War of the Worlds, and I do think it's kind of neat that by eating our data they learn our tactics and start countering us. Honestly, would prefer if they used that idea again in a future adaptation, showing the intelligence of the Martians by intercepting human communications and such, then countering it, showing the horrifying intellect and tactics these cold, unfeeling minds can use. However, here, it's dumb, because if data low, your jets, battleships, etc. will commit Sudoku, because these things need data to even function. Guess basic manual controls don't exist anymore. Then there's the whole cheap out on the virus kills the aliens thing. You know, like the War of the Worlds thing. Instead of being a piece of commentary about hubris and underestimating the power of nature and how even the Earth will defend itself, It's a man-made virus that puts a computer/biological virus into the aliens. So, yeah, and don't forget Amazon saving the day by giving a homeless man a $1,000 gift card for Amazon so he'll help a drone get to Ice Cube so he can upload the virus. Yeah, stuff like that and the constant repeating of Amazon makes us feel like a psyop for people making me want to buy from Amazon. But yeah, as an adaptation or even modernization of the original novel, I suggest sticking with the 2005 film. Say what you want, but at least it actually gave a damn about adapting the ideas and vibes from the book. Even having the main character looking for his wife, well, ex-wife in that film's case, so at least it's using the same type of journey/story for Rey. Here, you don't even have the road trip into the end of the world with her character walking through the fall of society and humans tearing each other apart because he's trapped in the same building the whole film. Just a complete mess of an adaptation. However, we haven't even touched upon the filmmaking itself. Strap in, boys, girls, and everything in between, because we're diving headfirst into... This film is fundamentally broken. Like, not just in the writing, like the literal filmmaking is a shattered whisper of how a film is supposed to be put together. Mainly with its misunderstanding and failure to utilize the actual strengths and identity of the genre it's using. It's a desktop cinema film that doesn't understand its own identity. It's like a rom-com being shot like a horror film, unironically. For those unaware, desktop cinema is a genre of filmmaking that takes entirely on a computer screen. Think of films like Unfriended. It's an offshoot of the found footage genre. And do you know what that genre is completely about? Immersion. You know, like not having edits or a soundtrack, embracing the idea of merely being a moment of time being captured by normal people in extraordinary situations, like a father trying to put the pieces together and his daughter's disappearance, or a group of people getting caught up in dark web nonsense. You know what it's not ideal for? A blockbuster movie. It's like using paint on a whiteboard. You're using the wrong tools on the wrong canvas, my friend. It's trying to make a guy at his computer into an action-packed alien fighting thrill ride, which only ends up creating these awkward moments of Ice Cube looking at the camera like a 5-year-old at the family gathering, and you just try to ignore him, but he'll just keep staring at you, and then you'll make eye contact with him, and then you'll both just keep staring, and it gets really awkward. The film puts in a non-diegetic soundtrack and has edits that zoom in and move around the screen that only serves to emphasize just how poorly directed and awkward it feels seeing the equivalent of a guy just watching a screen and doing nothing. Especially as the film can't really decide if Ice Cube is supposed to be powerless and isolated from the invasion and can only watch as his friends and family are under attack, or he actually is a hacking guru who can save the day by using other means to get into the action. And you can't have both. Which works to show just how much the writing falls apart as well. It's like it doesn't even have a story, but rather a series of things that occur. Like him randomly messing around with the audio of a video and discovering his son is a hacking domestic terrorist. Because, okay, I guess. All he says is that the government is stealing data and is watching us. Oh no, it's not like everyone's been saying that. What makes you so special? Then there's the whole Goliath thing with a massive server of all data on Earth, or some other nonsense that attracted the aliens to do a full invasion after merely scouting us out after we made the first computer. And yes, it's as dumb as you think. Then there's the actual data consumption nonsense, where somehow the internet still works despite all the things like government data sites being down. I don't know, it's also stupid.
Can't do it. I can't take this shit no more, man.
Especially when Ice Cube makes a video exposing everything and uses this unironically. And what a wonderful image to capture pretty much everything wrong with this film, to be so objectively just wrong but so sincere. Oh god. So that is 2025's The War of the Worlds, the worst adaptation we've had so far. War of the World fans, seems we're still starving for an adaptation that actually, you know, adapts the book. BBC, we're the chosen one. You'll get your turn one day. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Can't wait to hear the horror stories of you poor folks coming across this. Have a great day. See y'all next time. Got some new types of content I'm looking forward to experiment with on this channel soon. Bye!